Hello friends, in this video we will be learning two more important properties, that is duality theorem and area property. Let us begin. So the question is displayed on the screen. Get Fourier transform for the following functions. And now if you refer those five functions, one of them is 1 upon 5 plus jt, second one is sampling function of time, third is sampling square of t, fourth is 1 upon jt, and the last is 1 upon 3 square plus t square. So we'll see one by one. If you notice, there is a common thing in all of them, and the common thing is that they are not standard functions, right? Because we haven't seen such functions for taking a Fourier transform. I mean, we have taken e to the power minus at dot u of t. I can say it is a standard function for which a Fourier transform is known to me. It is 1 upon a plus j omega. For example, I can say e to the power minus a mod of t is also a standard function known as, in fact, an umbrella function whose Fourier transform is 2a upon a square plus omega square. So basically, standard functions are already known to me. Looking at them, we identify whether they are standard functions or not. These are functions which are not standard functions. But if you see carefully, if I replace t with omega, then it will become a standard function. See to it. For example, if I replace t with omega, it will become 1 upon 5 plus j omega. Then it will actually look like 1 upon a plus j omega in general, whose inverse Fourier transform is known to me, that is e to the power minus at dot u of t. I hope you're getting my point. So the only difference is, in case if I replace t with omega, then it has become a standard function. For example, we have seen a sampling function, but every time we have seen a sampling function which is a function of omega. So instead of t, if we have sampling of omega, then we can do something with it, that is, I can evaluate its inverse Fourier transform. For example, if it is sampling square of t, again it is not a function of omega, but if I replace t with omega, then definitely it has become a standard function. So in every function, all of them, in fact, for all five problems I'm talking about, there if you replace t with omega, then only it becomes a standard function. In that case, what needs to be done? What is a remedy over it? How to get a Fourier transform for those things which are not standard function in time, but they are standard functions in frequency domain? How to cope up with it? The solution is using a duality theorem. So what is meant by duality theorem? Let us see. What duality theorem says, for example, if you have function as x of t, that is in time domain, and if you take a Fourier transform of it, naturally it becomes x of omega, right? Please notice that whenever I say small x, it means it belongs to time domain, and whenever I say capital X, it definitely belongs to a frequency domain. Now, for example, what I have is capital X of t. Try to understand. What I've done is I have taken this x of omega only, but I'm replacing omega with t. And why I'm doing so? Because the same thing is given in all the five problems. Am I right? There, if I replace t with omega, then only it becomes a standard functions for which they are asking us a Fourier transform. So capital X of t means it is actually x of omega, where omega is replaced with t. I hope you got my point. For which if I want to get a Fourier transform, it is simply 2 pi x of minus omega. So I repeat, if x of t has a Fourier transform as x of omega, then capital X of t means it is actually x of omega, where omega is replaced with t. Then naturally it has become a time function. In that case, if I want to get a Fourier transform, it is simply 2 pi x of minus omega. Now, how this x of minus omega has come? See to it carefully that this is a small x. It means it is a function which is related with time. So here, x of omega means it is actually x of t, where t is simply replaced with minus omega. So this is how this duality theorem works. So now we'll try to apply this duality theorem on the given problems. So let us start with the first problem. So what they are asking us is a Fourier transform for 1 upon 5 plus j t. Is that right? Now t is a problem. If it would have been omega, then I could have get a inverse Fourier transform. then I can tell you 1 upon 5 plus j omega. In general, I can write this as 1 upon a plus j omega, for which I know what is the inverse Fourier transform. It is e to the power minus at dot u of t. I hope things are clear. So what is happening? I can say 1 upon 5 plus j omega has inverse Fourier transform as e to the power minus 5t dot u of t, where a is equal to 5, right? Now what they are asking us to replace omega with t. So can I say this is your x of omega and this whole is your x of t? So if I replace omega with t, then it will become 1 upon 5 plus j t. Am I right? Can I say it is actually x of omega, where omega is replaced with t? So this is capital X of t. Then its Fourier transform by using a duality theorem, it says it is simply 2 pi x of minus omega. So I'll write it over here, 2 pi. Now what is x of minus omega? X of minus omega is x of t, where t is replaced with minus omega. So as you can see, x of t was e to the power minus 5t u of t. Replacing t with minus omega, I would get e to the power minus 5 in bracket. I'll write minus omega u of minus omega. Is that right? Or further I can write this as 2 pi e to the power negative negative will become positive. So positive 5 omega u of minus omega. So this is your final answer. That is Fourier transform for 1 upon 5 plus jt is 2 pi e to the power 5 omega u of minus omega. So remember, for this function we got this as Fourier transform. So I'll write the final answer here. Fourier transform for 1 upon 5 plus jt is 2 pi e to the power positive 5 omega u of minus omega. Right? Let's move to the next problem. Second problem, they are asking you a Fourier transform for sampling of t. So this is a question mark for us. We know that sampling of t is not a standard function, but sampling of omega is considered to be a sampling function. So I would say sampling of omega is a standard function. So you know very well, if we have a rectangular function for which if I take a Fourier transform, then only I'll get sampling function. So definitely what I would have over here is a rectangular function. A rectangular function having amplitude equal to a and width equal to t. So I have to get the value of a and t. So I have to get the value of a as well as t, where t refers to what? A width of the rectangle and a indicates height of the rectangle. And how do we identify it? It is very, very easy. You know that here by observation, I come to know your coefficient of sampling function is 1. That is, the maximum amplitude of the sampling function is 1, and it is nothing but area of the rectangle. Also, coefficient of omega is always half of the width of the triangle. What does that mean? This is nothing but the half width of the rectangle. If I say half width is 1, then can I say t is 1 by 2? So t is simply 1 by 2. Whereas area is equal to 1. So when I say area is equal to 1, then area of the rectangle is nothing but length into breadth. So here a breadth is known to me, which is nothing but 2. So when I say half width is 1, it means t has to be 2. So we need to correct this. It is not half, but it is 2. So area of the rectangle is nothing but L into B, and that should become 1. Where length means the width, which is 2. B is nothing but your height, that is A, and that should be equal to 1. So A becomes 1 by 2. So finally, value of A and value of T is known to me. So I can write now sampling of omega has a inverse Fourier transform. We know that if this is a Fourier transform, in a reverse way, if I go, it is inverse Fourier transform is it is a rect of t by capital T, where a value is 1 by 2. You have a rect function t by a width is 2. I'm sure you understood how do we get the width. Remember, here coefficient of omega is always indicating half width. So when I say 1 is half width, then actual width will be equal to 2, right? So this is your final inverse Fourier transform. But then I would say I want sampling of t Fourier transform. Is that right? So let me remind you, this was your x of omega. This whole is your x of t. And when I say sampling of t, it means it is actually capital X of t. Capital X of t means it is x of omega, where omega is replaced with t. Then its Fourier transform is 2 pi x of minus omega. Am I right? Where x of minus omega means x of t at t replaced with minus omega. So let me write it. So we have 2 pi here. So I have written 2 pi. Then x of t is replaced as t with minus omega. So it becomes half rect of minus omega by 2. So here 2 gets cancelled. Finally, sampling of t will have a Fourier transform as pi rect of. Now, you know what? A rectangular function is an even signal. This is an even signal. Therefore, rect of t and rect of minus t is same. Similarly, rect of omega and rect of minus omega is same. So rect of minus omega should be replaced back to rect of omega. Therefore, I can rewrite this as, which was rect of, it was a function of minus omega by 2. So I'll simply write omega by 2. Is that right? So this is a final answer. So Fourier transform for sampling of t is pi rect of omega by 2. So I'm sure you have understood the problem. Let's move to the next problem. So next problem, they are asking you the Fourier transform for sampling square of t. Is that right? We know that sampling square t is not a standard function, but sampling square of omega is definitely a standard function. So let's say if I have a sampling square of omega. So there are again two things which we observe. First of all, we know that a sampling square omega is a Fourier transform of a triangular function. You know that whenever you have a rectangular function, you get Fourier transform as sampling function. But if you have a triangular function in time domain, then its Fourier transform is always a sampling square. And if you don't know, I request you to watch a previous video where I have explained you this. So if you want to get a sampling square function, definitely you must have a triangular function with you. Am I right? A triangular function divided by, so here t divided by, we write a half width. Am I right? And what we have over here is height of the triangle. So there are two things which I need to see, that is capital T and A, where t is nothing but half width and A stands for height of the triangle. So what I really want to find is capital A and capital T. We know that there are two things we observe after having a Fourier transform, that is a coefficient of omega, which is always a quarter width of triangle, which is 1. If nothing is there, it means it is 1. And we have 1, that is a maximum value of the sampling square function, which is nothing but area of triangle. Am I right? So let us see. When I say a quarter width of the triangle is 1, then the actual width of the triangle will be fourth of it, will be 4 times of it. Therefore, actual width of triangle will be equal to how much? 4. Then value of t will be equal to 2, because what we mention over here is not a complete width but a half width. Am I right? And a is nothing but height. We know that area of triangle is equal to 1, which is nothing but half into base into height. This should match equal to 1. In that case, I'll write half into. When I say triangle base, it means I'm talking about a complete width. So actual width of the triangle, see carefully, it is 4. So half into, this is base, and height of the triangle is not known to me. So height of the triangle, and this should be equal to 1, because area of the triangle equal to 1, which is nothing but a coefficient of the sampling square function. In that case, height is 1 by 2. Am I right? In our case, height means capital A. It means the value of capital A, now I got as 1 by 2, and value of t is what? It is 2. So now I can write sampling square omega has a inverse Fourier transform. So if this is a Fourier transform, inverse direction, it shows it is inverse Fourier transform. The value of a is 1 by 2. It is 1 by 2. It is a triangular function t by 2. Am I right? But what they want sampling square of t. So I want a sampling square of t. So please don't forget, I'm reminding you once again the duality property. This is your x of omega. This whole is your x of t. When I say sampling square of t, it means this is capital X of t, where capital X of t means it is x of omega, where omega is replaced with t, for which a Fourier transform is simply 2 pi x of minus omega, where x of minus omega is small x of t, where t is replaced with minus omega. So let me get a Fourier transform for this by using a duality property. So 2 pi is constant, we have it by default. Then x of minus omega is, write your x of t where t is replaced with minus omega, so it becomes half a triangular function of minus omega by 2. So here 2 gets cancelled, and finally a Fourier transform is pi triangular function of omega by 2 only. Again, I have replaced minus omega by 2 with omega by 2 because we know that whenever I'm talking about a triangular function, it is always a even signal, and whenever a signal is even signal, x of minus t is x of t. Similarly, x of minus omega is x of omega itself. Therefore, pi triangular of omega by 2 is the final answer. So Fourier transform for this is pi a triangular function of omega by 2. And if you want to actually show it graphically, you can show it very easily. This pi is nothing but height of the triangle, and 2 is nothing but half width. So the total width is 4, that is from -2 to +2. So this is a graphical representation of sampling square of t. Am I right? And of course, on x-axis we have omega, because after having a Fourier transform, we always go from time domain to frequency domain. Let's move ahead. The fourth problem was to have a Fourier transform of 1 upon jt. Am I right? We know that 1 upon jt is not a standard function, but 1 upon j omega seems to be a standard function. So let me tell you, 1 upon j omega. Let me tell you, even 1 upon j omega is not even a standard function. The standard function is 2 upon j omega, for which we get inverse Fourier transform as signum of t. In case if you don't want this 2 over here, I can write this way, 1 upon j omega will have inverse Fourier transform as half of signum of t. So constants you are allowed to transfer from time domain to frequency domain the way you transfer in equations. Again, this is your x of omega. This whole is your x of t. So what you want is 1 upon jt. So what is 1 upon jt? So 1 upon jt is nothing but your x of t. Am I right? That is capital X of t. That is x of omega, where omega is replaced with t. It is simply 2 pi times x of minus omega. Let us have a Fourier transform for this. So it is 2 pi, which will come by default as a part of formula, where now I have to write x of t only, but t needs to be replaced with minus omega. So it becomes 2 pi times half signum of minus omega. Am I right? So here again 2 gets cancelled. Finally, I can write 1 upon jt has a Fourier transform as pi times signum of minus omega. Am I right? If you see a signum function, it looks like this. So is this even signal or odd signal? Of course, it is odd signal. And whenever it is odd signal, means x of minus t is always minus x of t, or x of minus omega is minus of x of omega. So now I can write this as 1 upon jt will have a Fourier transform as. So since it is signum of minus omega, since signum is odd function, I can write this as minus pi times signum of omega. So I'm sure now you got this problem. We have one more problem. We'll go for it. So we have next function as 1 upon 3 square plus t square, and we have to get a Fourier transform for this. Am I right? So standard function says 2a upon a square plus omega square has inverse Fourier transform as e to the power minus a mod of t. So this is a standard function. The value of a is equal to 3, so it is 3 square plus what we have over here is omega square. Has an inverse Fourier transform as e to the power minus 6 mod of t. Am I right? Further, if I don't want this 6 over here, because we have a numerator 1 over here, so it is 1 upon 3 square plus omega square has a inverse Fourier transform as 1 upon 6 e to the power minus 6 mod of t. So I'm sure now you are comfortable with this. So don't forget, this is your x of omega and this is your x of t. Is that right? But instead of 1 upon 3 square plus omega square, in the question what is given to you is 1 upon 3 square plus t square. It means here we are replacing omega with t. So it becomes capital X of t, and capital X of t is x of omega, where omega is replaced with small t. So let me see. Now 1 upon 3 square plus t square, now it has become x of t. It is having Fourier transform as 2 pi x of minus omega. So even this will have a Fourier transform as 2 pi, by default will come as a part of formula, and small x of minus omega means replacing t for x of t with minus omega. So we have x of t over here. So let us replace this with 1 upon 6 e to the power minus 6, and t is replaced with minus omega. So here we can make this way. So finally a Fourier transform is pi by 3 e to the power minus 6. Now we know that mod of minus omega is omega itself. So I'll get this as final answer. So this is a final Fourier transform for 1 upon 3 square plus t square. So this is how we should actually use a duality theorem. Now the question can be, sir, it was now known to me that some functions are not standard functions, but in those functions, if we replace that small t with omega, then it has become a standard function. But at the end, what is the application of this theorem? So now here we are going to see what is the exact application for this theorem. Let us see. So the application is, for example, whenever you have a rectangular function which is in time domain, you know that after transforming in frequency domain, it becomes a sampling function. So we know that here on x-axis we have omega, here on x-axis we have time. That's the reason why I keep on saying that it is time domain, and this is a frequency domain. Now the question is, what if you have a sampling function in time domain, and now you want to see what is a frequency behavior? Am I right? So whenever I'm saying I have a sampling function, but this time it is a function of time, and if I want to see what is a frequency domain structure, in that case you have to make use of the duality theorem. So I'm sure now you got what is the exact application of the duality theorem. So we'll move ahead with the next property called as a area property. This property is also very important, and it has got its own application. We'll see how. So what we are going to see over here is a area property. So how do we get the area for given function x of t? We know that area is nothing but area under the curve, that is nothing but having an integration of the signal. That is, if I integrate the signal from minus infinity to plus infinity, then this is nothing but area of the signal. So our aim is to get area of the signal. It means we are going to integrate x of t from minus infinity to infinity. Now I'll just change a topic of discussion here. Let me say x of t is a time domain signal for which we have a Fourier transform as x of omega. Now my question is, how do we get x of omega? Then we have a standard formula, that is x of omega is integrating from minus infinity to infinity x of t e to the power minus j omega t dt. Now listen to me very carefully. This is a standard formula to get a Fourier transform of x of t. The question is, suppose now from this integration, if I want to get area of the signal, because area of the signal is nothing but integrating from minus infinity to infinity x of t dt. We have got a similar integration in this case also. The only thing is, this is the extra term. Am I right? This is the extra term. So what I'll do is, let us substitute omega equal to 0. Listen to me very carefully. What I'm doing is I'm substituting omega equal to 0. So x of omega is capital X of 0. So on left hand side, when I substitute omega equal to 0, it will become capital X of 0, which is equal to, integrating over minus infinity to infinity, we have x of t. Since value of omega is 0, it becomes e to the power 0 dt, and anything raised to 0 is 1. Or I would say minus infinity to infinity, integrating x of t dt, it's simply x of 0. Now question is, what is meant by this? This is nothing but area of the signal x of t. Now the question is, what is this? This is nothing but your x of omega, where omega is replaced with 0. So this is the value of x of omega at omega equal to 0. So now we come to the conclusion. If I want to get area of the signal x of t, and let me assume that x of omega signal is already known to me. So instead of calculating area of the signal, what I'll do is I'll take x of omega and I replace omega equal to 0 over there, and I'll see to it what is the value of x of omega at omega equal to 0, and that is nothing but area of the signal x of t. I hope you got this property. So I repeat this. This was our formula to have a Fourier transform, where I have substituted omega equal to 0, and from this I got capital X of 0 is equal to integration of x of t dt from minus infinity to infinity. We know that integrating x of t from minus infinity to infinity means to get the area of the signal. So area of the signal x of t is nothing but x of omega at omega equal to 0. So let us use this property and let us solve two problems based on the same. So the question is, evaluate integrating from minus infinity to infinity sinc of t dt. So this is the question, and let me tell you, this sinc function is a function of time, that is x of t dt. So here I have to get area of the sinc function, and how to get it? So I'll use a area property here. How? You will see now. So what I would say is, in general, sinc of t is nothing but sine pi t upon pi t. Agree? And sine pi t upon pi t can also be written as a sampling function of pi t. Is that right? So we know that a sampling pi t is not a standard function. In fact, sampling pi omega could be a standard function, because we have always seen a sampling function in frequency domain and never in time domain. So what I'll do over here is I'll say sampling of pi omega. When I say sampling of pi omega, I'll get a inverse Fourier transform this way. We know that a Fourier transform of a rectangular function is sampling function. So vice versa is also true. For a sampling function, if I take an inverse Fourier transform, what I'm supposed to get is a rectangular function. Now the question is, what is capital T and A? So A is nothing but height of the rectangle, and capital T is nothing but a width of the rectangle. So this is a width, and this is nothing but height of the rectangle. In case of a sampling function, we know that a coefficient of omega is nothing but half width. So when I say half width is pi, naturally width of the rectangle will become twice of pi, that is 2 pi. So now width of the rectangle is known to me. What is not known to me is height of the rectangle. So here is the answer. Coefficient of sampling function is 1, and this is always area of the rectangle, and area of the rectangle is nothing but height into width, that is L into B. So area is nothing but height into width. Area is 1, which is known to me. A is not known to me, but capital T is 2 pi. So A is simply 1 upon 2 pi. Am I right? Finally, I would say sampling pi of omega has inverse Fourier transform as 1 upon 2 pi, a rectangular function of t upon 2 pi. Is that right? I'm not looking for sampling function of pi omega, I'm looking for sampling function pi t. So what I'll do over here, I'm replacing omega with t, and now I'm trying to get a Fourier transform, and you know very well how to get it. it is 2 pi times x of minus omega. So this is x of t, am I right? So what I have to get is 2 pi times small x of minus omega, where x of minus omega is actually x of t, where t is replaced with minus omega. So it becomes 1 upon 2 pi rect of minus omega upon 2 pi. So here 2 pi gets cancelled. Finally, sampling of pi t is having a Fourier transform as rect of omega upon 2 pi. Am I right? We know that since a rectangular function is an even function, rect of minus omega is rect of omega itself. So I would say this is your x of omega. Am I right? This is your x of omega. So what we know so far, let me remind you, sinc of t is nothing but a sampling of pi t, and for sampling of pi t you have a Fourier transform as rect of t by 2 pi. Am I right? This is what we have is rect of omega by 2 pi. So Fourier transform, after having a Fourier transform we never have t. Am I right? We have omega. Am I right? So this is a Fourier transform for sinc function. So when I say sinc of t, I would say Fourier transform is rect of omega upon 2 pi. Then this is your x of t, and this is your x of omega. Am I right? Now what you have to get is integrating over minus infinity to infinity sinc of t dt, or I would say x of t dt. This is nothing but area of the sinc function, and we know that by area property it is simply x of omega at omega equal to 0. What is x of omega? X of omega is a rectangular function. Let me draw a rectangular function. A rectangular function is in frequency domain, so I would specify omega here. Width of the rectangle is 2 pi, so it will start from minus pi to pi, and height of the rectangle is 1. So height of the rectangle is 1, and this is your x of omega. Now observe what is the value of x of omega at omega equal to 0. See, this is the value of omega equal to 0, and at omega equal to 0 we have value equal to 1. What does that mean? It is simply equal to 1. So final answer, integrating over minus infinity to infinity sinc of t dt is simply 1. Alright, so let us solve one more problem. So the question is, evaluate integration from minus infinity to infinity sinc square 5t dt. So you have to evaluate this. Again, I'll use area property here. This is GATE 2014 question. How we can solve it? We know that a sinc function is originally a frequency domain signal. Am I right? When I say sinc t, it means it is a function where omega is replaced with t. So again, I'll be using a duality property along with the area property here. So we know that a sinc of 5t is nothing but sine of 5 pi t upon 5 pi t, or I can write it in terms of a sampling function as sampling of 5 pi t. I'm sure you'll agree with this. And if I square on both the sides, I would say it is simply sinc square of 5t is sampling square 5 pi t. Is that right? Again, we know that a sampling square of function of time is not a standard function. Sampling square we have always seen in frequency domain. So here I would say a sampling square 5 pi omega. Am I right? So this is a standard function for which I'll get a inverse Fourier transform this way. We know that whenever we have a rectangular function, we get sampling function in frequency domain. Whenever we have a triangular function, we get sampling square function. Vice versa is also true. Whenever I want sampling square function in frequency domain, then in time domain there should be a triangular function. So definitely there is a triangular function over here. Now let me remind you something. This capital T is always a half width, and this A is nothing but height of triangle. Coefficient of omega is nothing but a quarter width of triangle, and a coefficient of sampling square is nothing but area of triangle. So use this information now. See, half width of the triangle is capital T and quarter width of the triangle is nothing but 5 pi. So actual width of triangle is 4 times 5 pi, which is nothing but 20 pi. Am I right? Also, area of the triangle is 1. We know that area of triangle is half into base into height. So base is nothing but width multiplied by height. So tell me, area of the triangle is 1, half into, what is the width of the triangle? Width of the triangle is 20 pi multiplied by height of the triangle is not known to me. In fact, it is considered to be a. So I will write it over here is a. So this is 2 tens are 20. Finally, a is simply 1 upon 10 pi. So here a is 1 upon 10 pi, and we know that T is nothing but half width of triangle. So capital T is half width of the triangle, and width of the triangle was 20 pi. So it is 20 pi divided by 2. So T is simply 10 pi. So please understand, the value of capital T is 10 pi and value of capital A is 1 by 10. Finally, I can write sampling square 5 pi T as a Fourier transform as 1 upon 10 pi triangular function of omega. So we need to correct over here. This is 5 pi omega. Am I right? Whose inverse Fourier transform is 1 upon 10 pi, a triangular function of omega upon, we have a total width. In fact, we write half width over here, which is 10 pi. So this is a inverse Fourier transform of sampling square of 5 times pi omega. Am I right? So I would say a sin square of 5 omega has a inverse Fourier transform as 1 upon 10 pi, a triangular function of t by 10 pi. Am I right? Now, if I say that this is your x of omega and this is your x of t, now I have to replace omega with small t. So it will become sin square of 5t will have a Fourier transform by using a duality theorem. It is 2 pi times, you have to replace t with minus omega. So it will become 1 upon 10 pi. A triangular function of t should be replaced with minus omega by 10 pi. So here pi get cancelled. What is remaining is a Fourier transform as 1 upon 5, a triangular function of omega by 10 pi. We know that since a triangular function is a even signal, triangle function of minus omega is triangle function itself. So this is finally sin square 5t's Fourier transform. And why we are doing so? Let me remind you. This was our x of t and this is your x of omega. If you read the question, they are asking you area under the curve for sin square 5t. Am I right? So they are asking you area under the curve for x of t dt, and this is always your x of omega at omega equal to 0. So what is your x of omega? Your x of omega is nothing but a triangle function. So let me draw that triangle function. So since your triangle function is function of omega, what I have on x-axis is omega. This is nothing but half width of the triangle. So definitely it will start from minus 5 pi to 5 pi. In fact, if this is 10 pi, then it must start from minus 10 pi to 10 pi. So minus 10 pi to 10 pi, and therefore now it has become 20 pi. So 20 pi is the actual width of the triangle, and height of the triangle is 1 by 5. This is omega equal to 0 here. So this is finally x of omega. So what I'm interested to see is x of omega at omega equal to 0. So by observation, when omega is equal to 0, value of x of omega is 1 by 5. So value of x of omega at omega equal to 0 is simply 1 by 5, which is nothing but 0.2. Then 0.2 is the result for integrating over minus infinity to infinity sin square 5t dt. So this is your final result. So I'm sure now you have understood it thoroughly. Thank you.